Hello, I'm Debbie Bell-Hosking for Finextra TV at Sibos 2025 in Frankfurt, and I'm joined by Sheri Brandon, Global Head, New Business, Worldline. And we're talking about those all-important strategic shifts in a multi-rail payment landscape. Very much a hot topic here at Sibos. So Sheri, as always, just a wonderful welcome to our pop-up TV studio at Sibos.
Thank you, Debbie. I'm really happy to be here in this thriving environment.
It is thriving, and I love it when you come here because we tend to always just hook into the conversations that are happening on the floor.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Multi-rail payments, very much one of those conversations. You've got new rails from Wero to stablecoin. Everyone's talking about stablecoin. How do banks and PSPs know where to focus their innovations and their investments?
Yeah, so you named two of the actually three that are hot topic here at Sibos, right? Wero, stablecoins, and the digital euro. So what we actually see is that all these rails, banks need to think about where to invest. And we think that they need to look at a scalable hub, which is multi-rail, and design a actually interoperable multi-rail first, so they can scale up their payments, very, very quickly.
So that's something they need to bear in mind, is that process of not only getting on board, but being able to have that agility to scale fast.
Indeed. And a lot of banks still have legacy. So the question is always where to invest if you have all these rails, right? So they need to look at the use cases. Which use cases can I deploy fast? Can I co-create? Can I, looking at regulation, of course, some things need to go first. But in the end, make sure you have a scalable hub that is not every time you have to reinvent the wheel. It's that is, I think, the biggest message that I have for banks and fintechs alike. Make it an API first driven interoperable hub.
That sounds like good advice, and I think also maybe people will decompress a little bit when you say you don't have to completely reinvent the wheel.
Indeed. So don't reinvent the wheel. That's the big message here. Yeah.
So we're talking about all these changes, and the rails and the approach. But what shifts do you think banks, fintechs, merchants should be acting on so they're not left behind, particularly when you take into account regulatory changes and the way things are changing so fast?
Yeah, well, important for banks and fintechs are not to wait, right? They need to really look at use cases, as I mentioned before. Make sure you experiment, make sure you look at what is important for your end customers, because every bank has different end customers, whether it's the corporates or the consumers. So take those use cases, and experiment with stable coins, and use those fintechs. As a bank, you have the trust, you have the scale. But the fintechs and the paytechs like us, we have the innovation and the agility. So let's co-create, there are so many things happening in the market. We just mentioned the 3 new payment rails, but another shift in the market is coming, which is the Settlement Finality Directive, for example, where non-bank PSPs also will have the right to enter into direct settlement. So there is that shift coming. And it means that there will be another level playing field, banks, non-bank PSPs that can do direct settlement. So they should not wait, they should experiment, and they should co-create and make sure they are ready for things to come.
So from what I'm hearing is multi-rails, multi-shifts, it's all happening.
It's all happening, and it's exciting.
It is exciting.
Every year that I talk to you, it's getting more exciting. So
no, and I feel that. Yeah. I feel this momentum, and I'm feeling the buzz. As I've said in previous interviews, I can feel it in 2025. Like we're on the cusp of so much change.
We are indeed.
So we're taking on board that change. But what about more established payment methods like cards, for example? How do you see the future mix of payments evolving?
Yeah. So, cards, they have been there. And there are people that believe that cards will disappear. Personally, I'm not one of them. cards will have a different form, with your credentials now being stored in wallets, of course. It makes the ease of use is there. So with the new payment methods coming up, I think it will be a coexistence between all of them, maybe spread around 10-15% for the new payment methods. In the end, it's first of all the merchant that decides what payment method he wants to accept because of the cost of the payment method, right? But ultimately, it's the cardholder, the end user, the wallet holder that decides what he wants to pay with because of ease of use. So it's going to be a mix between what the merchant accepts because of cost and the ease of use of the consumer using the wallet that he has either his stable coins in or his digital euro. So it's going to be a coexistence like that. But ultimately, there won't be one specific winner. It's going to be all of them, and it's adoption by the end user that will define the game.
So that's interesting. So we can't put our bets on one winner just yet.
Not yet. We'll talk to each other next year.
Yeah,
again,
next year I'll ask you the same question, Sheri.
That's great, Debbie. Thank you.
But in the meantime, thank you so much for joining us this year.
Thank you so much for having me, and see you next year.